The knock that started everything. The stars were at war. Across the galaxy, two great powers, the Threxian Alliance and the Veloc Dominion, fought endlessly, turning peaceful worlds into smoking ruins. Entire systems had fallen. Billions had died. And yet, the war only grew larger, but far away, on a small blue planet called Earth, life went on quietly. Earth knew of the galaxy's chaos. First contact had happened decades ago, but the humans made one thing clear: they would not join anyone's war. No side, no weapons, no soldiers. Just peace. Some aliens laughed at Earth's refusal. Others warned that Earth was unpredictable, dangerous, a death world filled with survivors and stubborn fighters. But one day, a desperate group of Veloc commanders decided they didn't care about warnings. They needed help. Fast. So they sent a small diplomatic team to Earth's border. What they didn't realize was they had the wrong coordinates. Instead of Earth's main diplomatic center on Lunar Station, they ended up at an old human colony, Project Redwood, hidden deep in a jungle world that humans had long abandoned. The jungle planet was quiet. Too quiet. The Veloc team landed near a half-buried bunker, thinking it was Earth's embassy. They sent out a signal. Earth Command, we come in peace, said the Veloc envoy. We offer alliance. We need warriors. The enemy surrounds us. There was no response. Commander Revik, leader of the group, stepped forward. Maybe their systems are down. Let's knock. Yes. He tapped a code into the old metal door. The jungle around them fell silent, birds flew away, wind stopped, something inside the bunker clicked, and then, the door opened. A single human stood there. He wore no uniform. His clothes were dusty, his boots scratched. But his eyes were sharp. Too sharp. The human looked at the aliens, then at their ship. Then he slowly said, "You shouldn't be here." Revik stepped forward. "We come in peace. We are under attack. We know Earth has power. We wish to ally." The human didn't smile. "This isn't Earth's embassy." Revik frowned. "Then, who are you?" The human paused, then replied, "We are the reason Earth stayed out of the war." Before Revik could ask what that meant, alarm sounded. Behind the bunker, dozens of eyes lit up in the dark. Not machines. Not drones. But humans. Rough ones. Silent. Covered in gear that looked outdated, but deadly. Revik raised his hands. "Wait, we mean no harm." The first human said nothing. He simply stepped aside. Out from the shadows came a figure taller than any of them. Another human, covered in armor. His helmet was marked with old Earth symbols. Unit Black. Project Phantom. Red List operatives. Revik had read about them in old files. Ghost units. Disbanded. "Too violent, too uncontrollable," "You knocked," said the armored man. "Now you'll see why Earth stays quiet." The Veloc crew realized too late, this was not a peaceful embassy. This was a prison. A prison for Earth's worst weapons, the humans who weren't allowed back home, and now someone had opened the door. The ones Earth left behind. The armored man didn't give them his name. He didn't need to. Revik and his team could feel it, the weight of something old and dangerous behind the man's words. His armor wasn't polished like a parade commander's. It was worn from real fights. Clawed, burned, and scarred. Every inch told a story of violence. "This is Project Redwood," the man said. "Not a base. Not an embassy. It's where Earth buried the ghosts it didn't want walking free." Another human stepped forward, a woman with short black hair and a cold gaze. She held a rifle, an old human model, but it looked freshly oiled. She scanned the Veloc visitors without a word. Revik tried to stay calm. "We didn't mean to disturb. We are under pressure." "The enemy, you brought ships into restricted space," the woman interrupted. "That alone gives us permission to open fire." The first human, the one who opened the door, added quietly, "But we won't yet." Revik didn't understand. "Then what is this place? Who are you?" The armored man's voice was low. "This is where Earth sends the ones it can't forgive. War criminals. Black Ops. Special units gone too far. We were told never to return." "But why?" Revik asked, confused. Why lock away your own soldiers? Because we don't stop. We don't retreat. And we don't follow orders when they are wrong. Behind him, more humans stepped from the shadows, men and women with eyes too calm, faces too quiet. There was something off about them. Not evil. Just empty. These weren't ordinary warriors. They were made for one purpose. Revik's second-in-command, Urek, leaned close. Commander, we should leave. But it was too late. The sky above them shifted. Sensors beeped. A Threxian ship dropped from warp right over their heads. It wasn't just a scout. It was a Hunter-class destroyer. They followed us, Urek gasped. The humans didn't panic. The armored leader turned his helmet slightly. Let me guess. You led your enemies here, to Earth's doorstep. Revik stammered, we didn't mean to. They must have tracked our warp trail. The tall woman pointed to the skies. That's not just a ship. That's a signal to others. More will come. The first human rubbed his chin. They think this is just a jungle planet. They won't think that for long, the armored man growled. He turned to the others. Lock the perimeter. Dust off the old cannons. And wake up the rest. More footsteps echoed in the trees. Shadows moved, some walking, some crawling, some with mechanical limbs. They weren't all human anymore. What are you doing? Revik asked, stepping back. The armored man raised his head. You wanted Earth to join your war. He stepped toward the alien commander. Congratulations. You just gave us a reason. Revik tried to speak, to explain, to apologize. But the moment was gone. A deep sound rose from the jungle, a war horn made from steel and rage. Earth hadn't joined the war. Not yet, but something worse had woken up. Something Earth had tried to forget, and it was hungry, when the jungle burned the Threxian Hunter class. Destroyer hovered in the sky like a silent blade. Its scanners lit up the jungle below, unaware of what truly rested beneath the trees. To them, this planet was an overgrown ruin. No cities. No fleet. No threat. They were wrong. From inside the old bunkers, lights flickered to life. Giant turrets, hidden beneath vines and thick soil, rose from the earth with a hiss. Their metal groaned like beasts awakening from slumber. Revik stared in disbelief. This wasn't in any record. Earth said this place was abandoned. The armored man ignored him. His voice echoed into the comms. Lock on target. Don't fire unless I say. Let them make the first move. The woman with the rifle climbed to the top of a platform. She peered through a cracked scope. They are powering weapons. Charging plasma. Getting ready to burn. The jungle. Another human nearby, this one with strange implants along his jaw, snorted. Let M. Maybe the trees will bite back. Suddenly, the sky lit up. The Threxian ship fired. A blue-white beam sliced through the forest, melting trees and vaporizing animals. Fire swept across the ground. The sound hit like thunder. The jungle shook, and still, the humans did not panic. Instead, the armored man growled, now we answer. The old war cannons spun toward the sky. Their barrels lit up, powered not by modern fuel, but by old human tech banned across the galaxy for being too destructive. The jungle roared. 4 massive shots screamed upward. The first 2 missed. The third struck a wing. The fourth went straight through the Threxian ship's core. The ship burst open midair like a crushed fruit. Fire poured from its center. Alien bodies fell from the sky. The destroyer, once proud and unstoppable, split into 2 burning halves and crashed into the jungle with a deafening boom. The trees caught fire. Smoke rose like a signal to the stars. Revik and his team fell to the ground, shielding themselves from the shockwave. When he looked up, the armored human was still standing, unmoving, like a statue. You fired without hesitation, Revik gasped. That was a warship. The man looked down at him. So were we. More humans appeared, dragging strange crates. One opened to reveal tools, wires, and thick blades. Another held small, glowing pods, old Earth tech, too dangerous to ever be used again. Revik's voice shook. What is this place? The rifle woman walked past him. A graveyard. Another voice answered from the shadows. It was old and deep. No, said a new human, bald and scarred. This isn't a graveyard. It's a vault. And someone just broke the lock. Revik stood, heart pounding. You were left here. Forgotten. We weren't forgotten, said the armored man. We were sealed away. On purpose. Behind them, a toll gate rose from the ground, rusted, ancient, marked with a red symbol, restricted, Project Redwood, no entry by order of Earth Council, Revik. Finally understood, Earth hadn't refused the war because it was weak. It had refused because it had already created something too strong. Too wild. Too uncontrollable, and now, thanks to his mistake, the galaxy would remember that monsters don't sleep forever. Earth's forgotten army awakens as rained from the sky. Smoke hung in the air like a curtain, black and thick. The remains of the Threxian ship still burned in the jungle, lighting up the shadows with flickers of dying flame. Revik and his crew stood silently, surrounded by humans who no longer belonged to Earth's peace-loving image. The armored leader raised a hand. Wake the inner vaults. Call in echo units. If this is how the galaxy knocks, we'll open the whole door. The jungle ground rumbled again, old bunkers unsealed. From beneath thick layers of metal and earth, sleep chambers hissed open. Cryocells with heavy locks clicked as backup power came online. Dozens of figures stepped out, groggy at first, but quickly aware these weren't ordinary soldiers. They were genetically enhanced, trained beyond reason, and mentally sharpened into perfect tools for war. Earth's black projects. The kind the Council had buried and sworn to never use again. A young human from the Velok team whispered, What are they? The woman with the rifle answered coldly, they were Earth's answer to monsters. Until they became something worse. Each one had a number stamped into their necks. No names. Just codes. Revik turned to the armored leader. Why wake them now? Because your signal, he said, just echoed across 6 sectors. You brought more than one ship. He pointed to the dark sky above. A flicker appeared, then another. Ships. Lots of them, Threxian reinforcements, dozens of signatures filled the radar. Fast, heavy, armed. Revik's throat went dry. They are responding to the distress call. They think this planet is vulnerable. They are wrong, said the bald man. They just walked into the cage. The humans moved quickly, dragging crates into position. From inside, they pulled strange weapons, bulky, brutal designs from Earth's forgotten wars. Some looked half alive, humming with forbidden energy. Others had grips worn from years of use. A girl barely in her 20s held up a blade that shimmered oddly, almost like light bent around it. She smiled. Time to stretch again. One human leaned toward Revik. When Earth made peace, they made a deal. Lock us away. Never speak of us. Never use us again. He grinned darkly, but if the galaxy ever came knocking, really knocking, then they'd let us answer. A siren blared. From a far ledge, the rifle woman shouted, drop pods. 10 of them. South Ridge. The jungle lit up again as burning pods slammed into the forest floor. Threxian troopers, clad in dark armor and glowing eyes, rushed out. Revik shouted to his team, we need to fall back. We can't fight this. But the humans didn't move. They advanced. With perfect coordination, they split into strike teams. Fast. Precise. Without fear. One of the drop pods exploded before its doors even opened. Someone had planted a trap before the enemy landed. The jungle wasn't just a battlefield. It was already theirs. Screams echoed from the South Ridge. Blasts of plasma lit the trees. But the humans didn't just shoot. They moved like ghosts, appearing behind, beside, above. Silent kills. Brutal force. Revik watched one soldier slide through the mud, throw a blade into a Threxian's face, and disappear before another shot could be fired. Earth's forgotten army wasn't just fighting, they were hunting. The hunt begins. The forest had turned into a battlefield, but it wasn't a fair one. The Threxian soldiers came in waves, armored, and ready for a simple sweep. What they didn't expect was to land inside the hunting grounds of Earth's most dangerous creations. By the time the first hour passed, 5 of the 10 Threxian drop teams were already wiped out, not captured, not wounded, wiped out. One of Revik's officers, Jalar, watched through a tactical screen. They are vanishing. whole squads disappearing with no trace. Revik was sweating. They are not vanishing. They are being erased. Beside him, the woman with the rifle, her name still unknown, adjusted her scope. We trained in jungle warfare. Desert, zero gravity, underwater. Name a terrain. We bled in it. She fired. Somewhere far in the trees, a Threxian trooper fell without a sound. You think we were locked away because we were dangerous, she said. That's only part of it. One of the cryo units rolled forward on mechanical legs. It opened with a hiss, revealing a massive man with metal arms and glowing implants along his spine. He stretched like he'd just woken from a nap. He cracked his neck. Did someone knock? Revik couldn't believe what he was seeing. These weren't just soldiers. They were engineered predators, faster, smarter, stronger. And worst of all, they enjoyed this. Meanwhile, high in orbit, the remaining Threxian command ship watched the chaos unfold. From above, it looked like sparks of fire lighting up the green planet. The enemy had underestimated this place. A voice echoed on the Threxian bridge. Commander, we've lost 50% of our landing force. Impossible, the commander shouted. It's just an old Earth colony. Another officer whispered, it's not. Sir, they are using blacklisted human tech. We are not fighting a colony. We are fighting the ghosts. The bridge went quiet. Back on the ground, Revik was moving with the humans now, not as one of them, but under their protection. The bald man beside him spoke for the first time in a while. You still don't get it, do you? Revik turned to him. Get what? This isn't Earth's war. Not yet. But it might become one. And when it does, we are just the first to wake up. He tapped a device on his wrist. A low hum spread across the area. Several trees split open like mechanical flowers, revealing more storage units, ancient, rusted, yet still functioning. Inside them were even more operatives, more hunters, more monsters. Each one stepped out with the same calm expression. No anger. No shouting, just purpose. Revik took a step back. How many of you are there? The armored leader finally answered. Enough to burn this war down to its bones. At that moment, a signal burst through their comms. A voice from Earth's Lunar Command Station, Redwood Facility, this is Control. Status update required. We detected an unauthorized launch. And multiple Threxian energy signatures. The armored leader stepped forward. This is Redwood Actual. Contact has been made. Enemy forces neutralized. War Protocol Doorbreaker is live. The line went silent for a moment, then Control answered, voice tight. Understood. Earth Command acknowledges. God help us all. The armored man looked to the skies. No need for God. We are awake now. And with that, the hunt continued. Asterisk. Earth's Doorbreaker Protocol. The sky glowed red above the jungle as burning wreckage fell from the clouds. The Threxians were still dropping troops, trying to regain control, but every squad they deployed vanished into smoke, mud, and silence. The jungle was alive, and the monsters who lived in it were human. Revik stood near a command table inside the old Redwood bunker. Screens showed the battlefield, where human operatives moved like whispers, silent, deadly, unstoppable. One screen showed the wreck of the third Threxian warship falling into the river valley. These weren't just forgotten soldiers, Revik muttered. They are something else. The bald man, codenamed Ash, nodded. Earth never stopped building weapons. It just stopped admitting it. Another operative walked in. He was smaller, younger, but his eyes were sharp. Echo squads report complete wipeout of Threxian Ridge Camp. Jungle line is secure. Ash grunted. Too easy. The armored leader looked up. They'll bring something bigger next. This wasn't just a scouting force. They wanted to test us. Now they know what we are. Revik looked up sharply. You said something earlier, Doorbreaker Protocol. What does that mean? The leader paused. Then he turned a small dial on the center console, activating a hidden panel. The table split apart, revealing an old, dust-covered case with 3 red keys. We were built for wars Earth never wanted to fight, he said quietly. But if someone ever knocked hard enough, if Earth was ever threatened, Doorbreaker Protocol would allow us to act. He inserted one of the keys, the ground beneath them rumbled, from the eastern valley, massive doors opened in the mountain face. Dust and stone fell as hidden launch bays came to life, preloaded strike drones and battle mechs rolled onto old tracks, even the Veloc assistant, Urek, stared wide-eyed. Those are planet killers. No, said the woman with the rifle. Those are peacekeepers if peace means leaving no one to argue back. She turned to Revik. You wanted Earth's help. You begged for Earth to fight. And now? You got something worse. More screens lit up. Reports came in from other systems. The Threxian home fleet had received the Redwood distress ping. They were mobilizing. Dozens of battleships, war cruisers, and elite hunter groups were en route. They didn't want Earth's help anymore. They wanted to erase Redwood from the galaxy before it could spread. The armored man, still calm, inserted the second red key. Then we burn brighter, he said. Let the galaxy see what happens when you wake the things Earth locked away. Revik shook his head. Why not call Earth's main fleet? The man looked at him. They'll come. But first, we show the stars that Earth doesn't need its full strength to teach a lesson. He stared at the final red key, resting inside a glass case. Ash raised an eyebrow. You sure? Once that goes in, there's no going back. The leader nodded. It's time. High above, the Threxian fleet tore through warp space, preparing to flatten the jungle world, but the jungle wasn't unguarded anymore. It was a nest, and Earth's forgotten beasts were wide awake, fully armed, and ready to break the stars. Asterisk. The wrong planet to challenge. The final red key turned with a heavy click. Warning sirens rang deep beneath the Earth. Old systems, buried for decades, came to life, groaning as they awakened from silence. Massive underground platforms shifted. Steel doors opened to reveal weapons thought to be destroyed, wiped from Earth's records. Project Redwood wasn't just a prison. It was a vault. A vault built to outlast empires. Above, in orbit, the Threxian fleet dropped out of warp. 30 warships. Thousands of elite soldiers. The command vessel loomed largest, a dreadnought-class carrier built to end planetary resistance within hours. Inside the Threxian bridge, Commander Dravik sneered at the scans. This world is barely a scar on the map. Burn it. The first wave began their descent, but the jungle didn't wait. Before the ships could break through the clouds, Redwood launched its response. Hundreds of stealth drones, silent and invisible to standard sensors, tore through the sky like knives. The first Threxian warship exploded before it reached the treetops. The second lost engines and spiraled into the ocean. The third was boarded midair. Operatives from Redwood leapt onto it, pierced its hull, and overrode its systems before it even touched dirt. On the ground, the armored leader, codenamed Wraith, watched the sky burn. Phase 2, he ordered. The mountain platforms launched. Massive mechanical walkers, shaped like beasts of war, thundered out of the caves. Each carried weapons Earth had banned from galactic use. Plasma shredders, grav-pulse launchers, fusion blades that could melt steel walls in seconds. The jungle shook as they marched forward. Behind them came the soldiers. Not just the first operatives, but every sleeper Redwood ever held. Hundreds. Maybe thousands. All now awake. All now armed. Revik stood on the ridge, staring in awe. This wasn't a battle. It was a reckoning. The humans weren't fighting for Earth. They were reminding the galaxy why Earth chose not to fight. As Threxian troops hit the ground, they were overwhelmed. Tactics failed. Command collapsed. Every defense line turned into a grave. In orbit, Commander Dravik watched his fleet fall apart. Retreat, he screamed. Get us out of here. But it was too late. One final Redwood weapon activated, an orbital tether gun that reached into the sky and fired a bolt of energy directly into the dreadnought's core. The blast cracked it open like an egg. The sky lit up with fire. When it was over, silence returned to the jungle. Smoke curled into the air. The river ran black with ash. Redwood forces stood among the ruins, not cheering, not celebrating. Just watching, waiting. Revik stepped forward, eyes wide. Why did Earth lock you away? You could have ended the war years ago. Wraith removed his helmet. His face was calm. Tired. Scarred because we don't stop, he said. We don't know peace. Earth wanted to be better. It wanted to evolve. He looked up at the stars, voice low, so they left us behind to protect that dream. Ash crossed his arms. But now that dream's been touched. And we are not going back into the dark. Revik swallowed hard. What happens now? The woman with the rifle spoke, for the first time with a small smile. Now, the galaxy remembers. Final line, they wanted Earth to join their war. They got something else. Something worse. They got Redwood. Asterisk.